Hello, everyone. This is Ferd with another stock market report for you guys. I am dressed up for this one, real nice today. Gotta dress for success, right? So, anyway, I don't do these stock market reports very often. One, because I'm not very confident in what I have to say, but when I do have a theory or confidence in one particular equity stock or what have you, I will put a report out for it. I did one for Reddit. I was pretty solid on that one. I did one from grrr, and I was just way off. Yeah, just execute me on the on the comments there. But I do have a new one for you guys today. I know it's one that probably a lot of you in crypto, in just the space in general of investing, may or may not know a lot about this company called BMNR, Bitmine Holdings. It was pretty small share price, around 450 a share beginning of the year, but some pretty big waves and investors have actually come into the stock. The stock was at 120 at one point and just beasted through the prior lows or whatever, but it's come down quite a bit. I think now is a pretty good buying opportunity. It's up $3 as I kind of do this video, but do me a favor, everyone, hit that like button, subscribe to all your friends, and I'll keep doing these videos for y'all. And yeah, let's get into it. Give me 1 second here. Just want to make sure everything's all good to go. And here we are. All right, so the company I'm talking about today is BMNR, Bitmine. It's a ETH holding company. So basically what that means is they will go out and buy ETH and hold it as a treasury. So think of it kind of like a bank, I guess, but it's a holding company technically. Tom Lee is the board member. I'll go into that a little bit later to tell you not all who he is. But their goal essentially is to be the #1 miner and the #1 holder of Ethereum, which is essentially the #2, kind of like I guess you would say, the platinum of commodities for crypto. Obviously, Bitcoin is the #1. Ethereum, where a lot of meme coins, like very successful one that our friend Ralph shout out a long time ago, and Ralph, he told me about that a long time ago. They operate on the Ethereum crypto exchange or crypto blockchain. I don't know a ton about the background of Ethereum, but that wasn't really the reason I did this video today. The reason is Tom Lee. Tom Lee is the new CEO, and Mr. Thiel has an 8% stake on BMNR. That's what shot up the stock a while back. I'll do a little chart here. Let's see real quick. Okay, give me 1 second. We'll share this screen instead. Let's see. So got trading view here. Let's share this. Okay, so as we say, 47.78. So it's up about $3 today. It was hitting lows of around 40, which I bought about 100 shares when I came into that. But for the past 6 months, you'll see kind of here, right? So this is where all the activity kind of happened with BMNR. They made the announcement, I think around June 30th. There was a private placement, so a pipe investment by Peter Thiel. He bought shares at around 450 a share. The company got 250 million, I believe, and they've just been buying Ethereum since then. Now, with Tom Lee being the CEO and the essential, I would say, like, face of the company, that's really what got investor confidence, trading this stock up to about, where it's pretty close to where it's at today. So, obviously there's probably short selling here, some FOMO, and then the big drop, right? So obviously this coincides with the move of Ethereum. And I want to say about 2 weeks ago when the last Fed meeting came on, or sorry, it's the last, wasn't employment. I think it was the last Fed meeting. This stock went up to around $55 and this kind of toppled down. Now, I'm not too worried about that. I mean, I'm pretty long-term in this company. I would say I'm in it for 3 to 5 years, so long as the theory stays short or stays true. But, I just have a lot of confidence in this company. I'll go into in a little bit. But first off, I always like to look at the kind of like, what am I worried about? So bearish arguments for sure. It's, the chart, right? Let's take a look at the chart again. Give me 1 second here. Here. Gosh. Okay. So the chart. Well, let's go back to the chart. Give me 1 second. Where'd the chart go? Okay. So obviously, if you bought here, you're pissed. Even if you bought up here 66.94 back in July, you're still waiting on that return. You're probably going to sell if it makes a move like this again. And here there was just a big move in Ethereum and any Ethereum related stocks for the month. Where you're probably not very happy. You're probably like, gosh, why did I buy at 68? Whereas like here, I bought at 55 and I bought a little share just to kind of see where it was moving. But it's been trading around this range of 40 to about 47 the past week or so. Not even really. If you really think about it though, like a $7 move, that's pretty big. So if you got lucky and were able to, buy shares here, which I did, you have substantial, like your floor is pretty low, right? Now, if you buy here, your floor is pretty high. You're going to have to really leg it out, and you're going to have to wait for some pretty big momentum to really carry the stock. I don't believe there's going to be any like news that's going to push the stock up. It's just going to move with the market. And essentially right now, what they're trying to do is they're trying to mine Ethereum. They're trying to set up relationships with other, Wall Street, companies, and they're putting out press announcements. I mean, you could Google YouTube. This is like the probably 117th video in the past like 3 days that's talked about BMNR. So when I started these slides, there was kind of a quote unquote collapse. I mean, Ethereum's topped out. It was approaching 5K, and the stock was trading around $55 a share. And since then, it's trading around 4,300 and 4,400. I think today it's up like a little bit, but it is moving sensitive towards rates are. The trend right now is that rates are sensitive to, or the rates are trending to go down. There was an inflation report today. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. And the labor market is in turmoil, right? So it's another thing to add into how the stock moves. Just in general, crypto's been taking a beating lately, but that's off its like 52-week highs. It's not like it's been taking a beating and it's dipped down below its 30-day moving average, stuff like that. There was a bearish kind of scare with the NASDAQ requiring crypto type mining companies or holding companies to basically give them their strategy, and then they would decide whether or not you could list on that particular exchange like NASDAQ. The odd thing is, if you didn't really think about it, and I'm assuming maybe BMNR is going to want to be on the NASDAQ. They're currently not. They trade on the NYSE. So essentially, it doesn't affect the company's ability to sell stock or to trade on a stock market. And just overall, no confidence. I mean, that's just people just being like, oh, Tom Lee doesn't know what he's doing. He makes these extravagant calls. Well, he's been right quite a bit of time, or quite a bit of the time he's been right. Sorry, it's early in the morning here in the Pacific Northwest. But those, as far as any of these things, I mean, these are things to worry about, to think about when you're deciding whether to put a position in BMNR or not. And if there are more, please comment and let me know. But those are the things I could think of out the top of my head. And always exciting. What are the bullish arguments? Well, it's this guy right here. I mean, Tom Lee, if you don't know, he made a call in 2017 when Bitcoin was trading around 17K or something like that. He made an extravagant call that was going to hit like 250K by 2030. Now, obviously, there was a lot of things going on back then. There was, the beginning of the Trump administration, part one, and even during the fall of crypto, which I was super bearish as well. During the COVID years, Bitcoin went down to about 14K. Everyone was calling out it's the end of Bitcoin. Well, ever since November of last year, crypto has really taken off. If you don't know who Tom Lee is, research him. He looks kind of like a wacky dude, but when you hear him talking, listen to him talk, he puts it out just kind of he puts out his thesis and he pinpoints data points and then he projects, right? Which is what an analyst should do. I don't feel like he makes like these ungodly kind of like, he's not trying to sell you anything. He just puts out the facts. And I'm not saying that he's right on everything, because I'd have to go back on a lot of things, but I feel like it's just the fact that he's wanting to be on the board of this company where he could, he works for Fundstrat. That's his, like, I think, research company. The fact he wants to be on the board for this, I think he really believes in it. He could do whatever he wants. He's one of those guys. But it's pretty fascinating how he's really going to work, hitting the road, going to conferences. and just trying to make relationships for, his holding company. And this next slide kind of is more interesting, kind of like goals or whatever, right? So according to Tom Lee, Ethereum is going to take over Bitcoin. And when you look at the prices between the two, it's kind of like, how the heck is that going to happen? Now, it may or may not happen. I don't know exactly. But from what I know currently, as of today, September 2025, crypto is essentially digital currency, or not digital currency, digital commodity. So like digital gold, essentially, right? Now that's today. It's just a form of how to store your wealth, right? But what Tom Lee believes is Ethereum and crypto in general is having its 1971 moment. Well, what does that mean? Well, in 1971, this guy took the gold standard away. So essentially, back then, the U.S. could only have as many dollars as it had in gold holdings. Well, Nixon said, forget it. Doesn't really matter. And that move exploded Wall Street because you have an infinite amount of money. You can just have a printing press full of money, right? It also led to some really bad things like inflation of the 70s. I wasn't born back then, so I don't really know. But there was the start of higher interest rates. I remember an old buddy of mine, his professor bought like $100,000 worth of 20-year or like 30-year bonds that pay like 20%, and he held them for 30 years. I mean, it's a guaranteed 20% return on your money for 30 years. That's pretty amazing. But essentially, now what he believes is Wall Street is having, or crypto is having, its 1971 moment. What that means is Wall Street is trying to get crypto via the blockchain. So to do that, they need some type of currency. And according to Tom Lee today, that currency, that cryptocurrency, is Ethereum. It's not Bitcoin. For whatever reason, I don't really know. I didn't really get into the research for that. But that's kind of all I needed to know when he made that comparison. And I looked at several videos of Tom Lee. He's really pounding the pavement with that kind of theory. So he's staying consistent. It makes sense to me. And I kind of dove into like, well, what exactly does Ethereum do? And that's on my next slide here. And that's kind of what's got me extremely bullish and not really worried about the swings in Bitmine. So in summary, I mean, the primary goal for BMNR is, right, to be the #1 holder of Bitcoin. Well, why? I mean, you got all this, crypto. You're the #1 storage for it. He wants to own 5% of the whole entire like network of Bitcoin, right? Well, it makes sense. If he believes that Wall Street is going to use Ethereum on the Ethereum blockchain, then if you're a holder of Ethereum, you're essentially the gatekeeper of that blockchain in a way. Obviously, other 95% will benefit as well. But if you're the top holder of Ethereum and you're right, you're just going to sit back and get dividends. One of the biggest beliefs in Ethereum is that Wall Street, and the reason why Wall Street is going to go with Ethereum is because of stablecoin relationship on the blockchain. Now, stablecoins from what I've researched, also has to do with this movement of crypto going on to of Wall Street going on to the blockchain with Ethereum. So when you're a stablecoin, is essentially like the volatility of like meme coins, whatever coins, like it's a guarantee that the stable coin will not fluctuate a ton. So it's liquid essentially, right? So stable coins enable liquidity. And that is a big concern for Wall Street and bankers like myself. As of right now, I can't lend on crypto because it's so volatile. How do you price it? How do you say, okay, this guy has 200 grand in the bank worth of Ethereum. By the time he goes to purchase, it may not be worth that much. Well, that's what stablecoin does. You can move it to a stablecoin. It's going to be like basically a money market, from what I understand. If I'm incorrect, just hit me in the comments below. But that's what I understand. So my view, holders of crypto will essentially be interchange fee miners. For every transaction that goes through, especially with Wall Street, Ethereum holders are going to be the beneficiary for that. It's just going to be essentially like you're just collecting interest or whatever. And if BMNR is going to do that, and they're going to be the #1 holder of the #1 blockchain that Wall Street is going to use, or just like regular old Americans or people, I guess, in the world, it just makes sense. And this kind of move to the blockchain is what makes me really excited about wanting to get a piece of that. Now, here's a question. Why wouldn't you just buy Ethereum outright. Well, you're not going to be able to take advantage of what BMNR is going to serve, or the service that BMNR is going to be able to get. Also, you have the equity exposure. Also, I don't have like $3,000 just sitting around that I want to buy like, Ethereum. I'd rather get in lower at 48 bucks a share, 47, and accumulate versus just buying one Ethereum coin and just sitting on that. I just think there's more potential. Like, would you rather have 100 shares of BMNR or 1.5 shares of Ethereum coin? I'd rather have the 100 shares personally. But anyway, that's my theory on BMNR. It's trading around 47.50 a share, maybe a little bit. It kind of had a pretty big bump today, but I do appreciate you guys all watching. Hit me in the comments, hit that like button, subscribe, tell all your friends, and I'll keep doing these videos. You'll have a great day. Take care.